Welcome back. Welcome back to Each Other's Soulmates. We are here ready to go for season 2. We have made it. We have made it to season 2. Last week, we did the finale. We did the end of season 1. We did our live. It was super fun. We had I think it was an average of 5 viewers the whole time, which was awesome. Great for me. We're a brand new podcast. It was really cool interacting with people. Got a lot of male opinions, which is like quite fascinating because so many times we hear, oh, I don't watch Sex and the City, or oh, guys don't watch Sex and the City. Yes, they do. And if they don't, they like talking about it. I promise you. And we have now proof of that. So if you were reluctant on watching the show or tuning into the podcast because you were a guy, don't be. But wrapped it up with the live. It was super fun. We were planning on doing that for like our finales of the season, but it was really fun. So we might be throwing those into the mix every now and then. With season 2 comes a lot more episodes. We have about 18 episodes this season. So we're starting with episode 1, obviously, but we got about 18 episodes. Season 2, we are bringing on guest co-hosts to the podcast, which we are super excited for. We already have a couple lined up and scheduled later on in the season and actually coming up here pretty soon. So we are very excited to do that, get some different opinions in with some lovely ladies so far. So if you're also interested in maybe tuning in and being a guest on the podcast, shoot us a message. I think it'd be great. So, but yeah, let's get into season 2. So we're starting season 2. The title of season 2, episode 1 is "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." Right? It's New York. Yeah. So we're gonna start off with a Yankees game, because why the fuck not, right? But what else were we gonna talk about in this intro before? What are we starting with season 2?
In season 2, we have a lot of guest appearances from different actors that we're going to be talking about. Some people who got their start in acting with Sex and the City, some people who became a million times more famous now than then. We'll point them out as the season goes on.
I noticed another one too that like I never noticed until I watched it the other day, is another actress, and I was like, oh my god, look at where she came from. So I'm excited for that one coming up. Another thing, got to mention, we did our live last week on a Wednesday, which is not normal for us, but things come up, life happens. And this week, we're actually posting on a Wednesday again because life happens. We do want to go back to that Tuesday schedule for you guys, probably starting next week, hopefully. But yeah, so thanks for being patient for all of the, reschedules and all that jazz. So I'm glad you guys are still sticking around for all this crazy fun endeavors. But with that, let's get started into season 2, episode 1, "Take Me Out to the Ball Game."
Yeah, so this episode is really centered around the idea of a breakup and rules that come with the breakup, whether they're rules that you made up, rules that other people made up, or rules that actually exist. And just different avenues of what it means to interact with the person you've broken up with after you've broken up with them. Because that's
definitely the theme of this. Because if you don't remember, or if you're just kind of tuning in, we leave season 1 on the breakup of our main characters, Carrie and Mr. Big. Season 1 was kind of a trial of their relationship back and forth and getting started and getting comfortable and then ending. So we jam-packed a whole relationship into one season, and here we are starting the next one, and they are not together. So this is us
starting over,
talking about starting over, being a single gal in New York again. Oh yeah, I forgot to add our stupid little tagline, like I always forget. But once again, we are each other's soulmate. We are a Sex and the City broadcast. We are 2 broads talking about our 4 favorite broads in New York City. So let's get talking about these bitches.
Hell yeah. So we open this episode on a scene with Carrie walking up and down the streets of New York. She honestly looking like shit. She's like smoking a cigarette. She's got her hair's all fucked up. She looks like she's been up for days or crying for days or both. Just not really,
Probably
doing.
both.
And she's talking about what the odds are of bumping into your ex after a breakup. And she talks about how the odds are especially go up high when you look like shit. That's probably when you are
Obviously, that it always works out that way, right? It's always
honest.
when you're least expecting things. It's always when you're like, son of a bitch. And this is why it's the other day this happened to, well, nothing actually happened, but I went out without being done up. I didn't do my hair, didn't do my makeup. Typically, I usually prefer to not do that, but I was
do that.
Yeah, and it's whatever. I was going to Chili's, so
Chili's
not that Chili's isn't deserving of my beauty, but it's just that I don't know. It just whatever. I was getting dinner. But I don't typically do that because I truthfully am that type of person. I'm like, what if I run into someone that I know? What if I run into someone new? And it's like, you never know. Like, first impressions mean a lot. As much as people are like, oh no, I'm like, they matter. First impressions matter. They're actually very big on the brain. So I get it. I get the whole looking like shit thing, especially after a breakup. You're like, I'm going to run into this guy and he's going to be like, oh, damn, she does look like shit.
Like, damn, I dodged a bullet. Like,
and you're like, no, you don't want to do that. You want to be like the hottest bitch alive. I remember one time I saw my ex like a couple months after we broke up, a good solid couple months too. And I made sure I was dressed to the goddamn nines. I was wearing like a club dress, heels, big hoops, hair was done. It happened to be both of our birthdays. So I was all like, watch this bitch. It worked.
It worked. Glad.
Well, nothing happened, but like I still looked great.
Eat your heart out.
Eat your heart out.
But yeah, no, they talk about how after a breakup, she says certain streets, locations, even times of day can be off limits. All the things that you used to do with that person, you have to stop. You can't do it anymore because you're no longer with them.
And also just fear of running into them too.
Yeah.
Or just not bad memories, maybe good memories that you don't want to resurface. You're like, oh man, I loved that restaurant. You're like, I loved doing that with them. You're like,
absolutely. And honestly, it kind of looks like Carrie's just been like something that crawled out of the drain for the past few weeks and just hiding. She just is not doing it well.
She's not doing.
No, she's not doing.
I mean, she was kind of a wreck already in her relationship with Big, so
yeah. So she's pretty messed up with it. And we pan over to the next scene, and Miranda and Charlotte go to Carrie's apartment to go pick her up and make her go out of the house. And the opening line to this scene, Miranda opens the door and says, "Get your coat, and Frank, we're going out."
I love it. I love it.
The things that you
love
can
that
say
shit.
And
you can say that now.
I know you can. It's just like it was so much more casual back then.
Hasn't affected me much.
Then they come to take her just out of the house. Like, they don't tell her where she's going. They're just like, you're getting out of the house. And they make it clear she hasn't really left her apartment or gone to see anyone since they broke up. And Carrie thinks that Miranda thinks that Carrie should be over the breakup already, that it's been a few weeks. Just get over it.
It don't work that way.
And this is the first breakup rule that we're introduced to in this episode, which is it takes half the total time you went out with somebody to get over them. And do you think that's true? I think it's bullshit, but do you think it's true?
I don't think so.
No,
half the time. So like, okay, so if you're with someone for 3 years and a year and a half, no. There's no way. I mean, obviously you still consider, like, you still think about these people. It's not like they just vanish off, like from your memory. It's but like as far as like that initial like raw breakup feeling of like missing, that like that hole in your chest feeling of like, oh my God, we're not together anymore. Like, what the hell? They're not a part of my life. Like, that goes away pretty, fairly quickly, that initial shock. But you know, as far as like getting over things, I don't know. I feel like it just takes like a couple months because you have to think about things, especially if it wasn't resolved well. Then yeah, it can linger because then there's that whole like closure thing, like, oh, I need this, oh, I need that, you know. But I don't know. I don't think it takes that damn long.
No, and there is something to be said about, you know, when you stay in a relationship longer than you should and you begin to mourn it while you're still within the relationship.
Women do that a lot.
Yeah, so I feel like that cuts into that period of time. So sometimes
women do that a lot. I don't know why we do that. You think it's like a defense mechanism?
For me, I know that I want to be sure because I don't go back. If
That's
I
fair.
felt that it was enough to be done with, I don't want to go back to it because I know it was already what it is. So I think that in certain circumstances, it can be so that you know for a fact that when you're done, you're done.
I could see that.
That you feel like no stone was left unturned. You know,
Yeah.
like everything.
And yeah, especially in just whatever the current situation is, you know, and the current climate of that relationship. Yeah, that makes sense.
And it totally depends on the people's individual circumstances.
Of course.
You know. But yeah, so should it take half the time you were with them to get over them? That is the breakup rule that Charlotte says. And Miranda disagrees, and she says that, you know, she mentions a man named Eric who broke her heart, and she got over him super quick. Even, and we have Carrie in the background just being like, I don't remember it happening like that. Like, what a load of barnacles.
This is a load of barnacles.
And Carrie does her inner monologue over the situation and says that Miranda used to refer to Eric as the love of her life. And that's a lot coming from Miranda.
That's a lot coming from Miranda.
Pessimist, you know, she's at one point in the show, the dude tells her sometimes it's like you're the guy because she's so heartless in her relationships, you know, to them. But this was the love of her life. And
you know what I just realized?
What?
Miranda's just emotionally unavailable.
Yeah, like a man.
I mean, yeah, I guess the majority of men maybe are emotionally unavailable, but I just realized pretty much the entirety of the entire series, she's just not someone who probably should be dating.
Her light was not on.
No.
But yeah, no, this guy Eric left her for another woman.
That's probably why she's pissed.
That'll fuck you up, dude, especially if it's the love of your life. The love of your life left you for another woman. That shit's gotta hurt. Oh my god.
That's never happened to me, you know, or the whole like, oh, I met someone else thing. You know, that's like, I don't think that's ever happened to me.
Oh, no. I can only imagine how much that hurts.
No, I've definitely like seen or like been in things where like they might have gotten with someone like a decent amount after we broken up, but not like 2 weeks, you know, like we were like, okay, something was going on, you know, something was going on before we even broke up kind of thing. I don't think that's ever happened to me. If it did, I probably wouldn't be here because I don't think mentally I can handle that.
We'd be doing this podcast and you'd be in prison.
Doing the podcast solo, it's because 1, I'm in a mental hospital, or 2, I'm legitimately in prison for assault with a deadly weapon.
I would visit.
Oh my god, I want to be, what the fuck's it called? Mugshotties. I want to be on Mugshotties so bad.
What the fuck is Mugshotties?
Mugshotties is an Instagram page of hot bitches mugshots.
Oh my gosh.
And it's always guys like being like, I can fix her, you know, and I'm like, it sounds ridiculous, right? Because I'm like, I want to get arrested to be on it. And I'm like, personally, I'm like, am I hot enough for mugshotties? I don't know. I kind of want to find out.
Find out, yeah.
But yeah, I've actually never gotten arrested.
Nah,
Surprisingly.
some knock on some
I
wood.
will. I could lose my nursing license if I get a decent enough charge. So I've had to be I've had to be decently, especially DUIs. DUIs are
Ooh,
that's
I
a
can see
big
that.
one for nursing licenses. You have to fight it in court a lot of the time, and so I've been very cautious with stuff like that. So
That shit.
Ubers, but yeah, I've always wanted to be on it. Oh,
You know what?
maybe one day.
After we finish this, we'll take some photos of you and send them in.
I
How about?
have mock ones.
Oh shit!
There's a Snapchat filter. There was a Snapchat filter and I sent it to one of my friends. I'm like, look, he's like, dude, if it wasn't for like this stupid filter, like it could pass, you know? Oh God. I wish. Anyway.
Oh my gosh. Man. If I'm like, what would you get arrested for? I'm trying to imagine
Me?
like probably
I would get
assault over some
Say what?
like
Assault?
assault, yeah. Like someone said something mean to me.
No, that's the only, I tell people this all the time. I will, like, if you threaten me, if you do this, if you do stupid shit to me, like, I'm like, all right, pack it up, loser. You know, but it's like, if we're at like if you're like talking shit or doing something to someone I care about, nah, like,
I got your earrings for you.
yeah, it's like it's fucking on like fucking Donkey Kong. Like, don't even catch me on a bad day.
And
Woo!
like y'all, I am very thankful for this because I get scary dog privilege because of her.
That is really fun.
When
It
we
is
go,
really fun being scary dog privilege.
it is. And I would do the same for you. I'm small, but I'm scrappy.
Yeah, sometimes you have piped up. You're like, what? And I'm like,
Yeah, but it's usually
like,
the
oh,
like twice my size.
I mean, I do the same. I've gotten in fights with men at bars for sure.
Oh my gosh. Sometimes they just need to be put in their place, man. Don't put your hands on my friends.
Or don't say stupid shit in public without thinking you're not going to get repercussions.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, welcome to San Diego, dude.
Yeah, especially if you're fighting like some other dude and you're pushing bitches out of the way. Get your hands off me, buddy.
Yeah.
Get your hands, buddy.
Man. Like, where were we?
Getting arrested, which does happen. What doesn't, but almost happens one time in the series. We will eventually get. We will eventually get there.
Yeah. Yeah. Someone almost gets arrested. I'm thinking about one of the movies when somebody else almost gets arrested.
Oh, that one too. That's gonna be a fun one. The movies are very fun, so I'm excited to get there too.
We will get there one day.
One day.
Let me see. Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So back to the original reason why Bella would go to jail, which is because her man left her for another woman. And yeah, so that's what happened to Miranda. And honestly, that's a villain origin story right there. Like, the love of your life leaves you for someone else. I just don't see that going well. And then Charlotte adds more advice. You know, Charlotte and her rules. She's Miss Rules. She says the only way to get over someone is to feel really bad, to cry to your girlfriends about them,
or get under someone.
Yeah. Replay everything you hated about them over and over in your head all day, and that's how you fix that.
Honestly, she's not wrong.
No wrong.
Sometimes you have to ruminate. I feel like ruminating is like a very normal, healthy process of breaking up. Like, you can't help but think about, what could I have done? Could I have done this? You know, like every little thing. You know, people ruminate all the time. So especially women.
Yeah, and I feel like that also helps with closure, kind of reflect on what happened.
Yeah.
Especially when it all happens so quick and emotions are so big and vibrant, you can't really see past them. Give you some
Yeah.
perspective. But yeah, we have the next scene, and we have Charlotte, Miranda, and Carrie walking out of the apartment to go get a cab. And Carrie's overdressed as fuck. She's got her fur coat on, this beautiful dress on, her hair's done, her makeup's done. Total 180 from the shit show we saw at the beginning of the episode.
Because you have to do that. You have to do that.
Yeah.
You have to, like, dress to the nines, do your, like, I'm still hot shit, like,
Yeah.
kind of
Even if you're
thing
just
to break
feeling,
yourself out of it, out of the slump.
yeah, just look better than how you feel, honestly.
Yeah.
And this part, they're talking a lot about how hard it is to see somebody for the first time after the breakup. It's,
Ouch.
yeah, it's very ouch because all of these things have shifted over, and now you
Mm-hmm.
redefine how you associate with this person if you choose to continue to associate with them, which is
Right.
really, it's interesting. I feel like you're specifically good at navigating these sort of things.
Yeah, I tend to be able to maintain friendships with exes. Um, I don't know. I've always kind of been like that, but I'm a very, like, I'm not a, what's it called? I'm not a vindictive person. I'm not a, like, I don't hold, I'm not a grudge holder, like, at all. Like, you can do me dirty and, like, I'll find space to forgive you. I've just always kind of been like that.
Yeah.
I just feel like life's too short to harbor that kind of resentment for someone, because I don't know. I just, like, I get over it. I'd want people to, like, you know, I don't know. It's just weird because I'm like, yeah, bad things have happened to me. People have done me pretty dirty, but, like, for me, it's always like I'm not a judge. I'm not, like, a big judge either. Like, karma's not something that I deal. It's just like whatever. If you can maintain, like, some kind of just civilness and still maintain the somewhat friendship, like, why not? I mean, I'm not like that with every single relationship or partner. Like, I have partners that the day we break up that's the last time I've ever heard from them or seen them or anything. So, and that's fine. That's how it should be. But I do feel like certain relationships have the capacity to have that, like, kind of relationship after a romantic one.
Yeah.
Because I do feel like a lot of times too, you get in relationships and there's such a strong platonic build that you can bond with someone, so you're like, damn, like, it's the whole, and then it brings up the whole discussion of, like, can you still be friends with an ex, that we end up talking about during this during the season. So, but anyway, yeah, it depends on the person and depends on the scenario.
Absolutely. I could see that. Well, yeah, they talk about it, and then Miranda tells Carrie that she's giving Mr. Big too much power because she's so worried about running into him that she's acting upon it. She is, like, refusing to go certain places. She's refusing to not look amazing anywhere she goes. She's actively acting as though she's about to run into him again, which is kind of like, ma'am, you're broken up, move on with your life, go do something else.
Yeah.
Fixated on this.
Yeah,
And
grief. I mean, you got to grieve it a bit, but,
yeah,
like, eventually you got to you got to start. You're not going to hold off your life because of it, you
yeah,
know.
that seems to be what she's doing, which is why they're here trying to force her out of her apartment.
I don't know the duration of this though. Like, so I don't know from, like, the end of season 1 to the start of season 2, like, I don't know if they ever reference how long it's been.
So at the end of the last episode, I do remember as they broke up, she said, I cried for a week. So
Okay.
this seems to be post 1 week at least. She's not crying, you know.
Yeah.
I Oh, no, we do have somewhat of a timeline.
Oh yeah.
Yes, in the next scene, next couple scenes, uh, okay, I'll just mention it, but Samantha mentions that she's been in her relationship with James, which she's still in.
Oh, okay, yeah.
For 2 months.
And they like just started dating last episode, right?
The last episode, yes. So
okay, so I feel like it's been a month-ish, right?
It's been a month to 2, so it's been a little while.
A decent amount of time.
Decent amount of time.
Okay. That's fair.
So
that's fair. It's not, we're not like 3 months, 4, 5, 6 months later. Yeah.
Yeah. That's still reasonable to be that upset. They were together for about a year, so just got 6 months ahead of her, I guess.
Yeah.
Honestly. But yeah, so next scene we have Miranda, Charlotte, and Carrie, and they're in a cab and they're gonna go pick up Samantha. All 4 of them go to their surprise destination. So as they pull into where Samantha is, you see Samantha and James kissing at the front door of an apartment. As they pull in, they're talking about how amazing it is that Samantha's still in a monogamous relationship, and compare her usual Saturday night to a really popular restaurant in Manhattan. I forgot the name of it, but they say that's what her Saturday nights usually look like with men. I don't know.
Okay, calm down. It's not like a reservation revolving door with her.
What I'm saying, it's not like she's open for business or some shit, but whatever. We have James dropping her off with the ladies, and he's like, what are the most beautiful women in New York gonna do this afternoon? Miranda comes in with if I see them, I'll let you know. I'm like, okay.
Miranda, shut your mouth. No one wants to hear from you.
Literally.
No one wants to hear from you today, you cynical prick.
The least charming of the 4.
And then complains. And then, why does no one want a threesome with me? I don't know, Miranda. Maybe because you're being an ugly skank. At least right now.
Right now she is. Oh my gosh. But James says I love you as he leaves Samantha, and I did notice she doesn't say I love you back. She just smiles nicely at him. And Charlotte comments on how great everything seems to be going. And as soon as James is out of earshot, Samantha, she's such a savage. She says, me, James, and his tiny penis were one big happy family.
So yeah, if you didn't remember from last season or episode, the big downfall in Samantha's current relationship is that he's not endowed enough for Samantha. But she really, really, really likes him. And so she's kind of just dealing with that, I guess. Huh?
She's dealing with his shortcomings.
Which is like, so in the last, they like try and have sex. She tries really hard to like make sex enjoyable for her. And it didn't work out. So. What?
That's this episode.
Oh, it's this episode?
Yeah.
Oops. Well,
no, but, okay, you haven't. We'll get there.
But how did she? Wait, do we not talk about this in the last one?
Not yet.
They just meet. Oh, well, whatever. They
tried
obvious.
a couple times in the last episode, but in this episode, we see Samantha really try to make it work, and we see all the different ways she tried to make it work.
Well, no, because they do have sex because we talk about her crying in the last one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was like, they hadn't had sex yet. I was like, yeah, they have.
No, they've had sex. They haven't, like, done all the things to try to make it better.
Yeah, but I'm meaning, like, she's tried to have sex with him more than once.
Tried a couple times.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very upsetting each time, honestly. The scenes are really hard to watch.
Yeah.
But yeah,
so they go to their destination.
Yes, they make it to their destination, which is a baseball game. Take me out to the ball game.
And they're watching the Yankees, obviously. Yeah.
So Miranda loves baseball, and Carrie loves being anywhere she can smoke and drink at 2 p.m.
Oh, we need to do this. So this is a popular TikTok audio. If you haven't noticed by now, if you are watching along, a lot of TikTok audios are popular Sex in the City quotes, and it's really cool. We actually got a comment on our last video, the one, or no, not the last one, the threesome one, where Samantha's just like, hello. Someone commented, they're like, I had no idea that was from Sex in the City. And I was like, yeah, that's, you know, it's really cool that we get to like acknowledge that stuff too. And I'm like, if you like those audios, you should watch the whole show. So, but yeah, no, there was a big trend at least a couple months ago, doing that, where people would go to baseball games and like girls were like eating hot dogs and like drinking beer and like, you know, smoking like at baseball games. And I'm like, oh, we have to do it. Honestly, though, it is still baseball season here. There probably is a couple of like missions games. So if you didn't know, San Antonio has a minor league called the Missions. So if we can catch a missions game and like recreate that scene, I would love to. So I would love to try and do that. So
hell yeah. Get a photographer out there. Have some fun.
yeah.
Man.
We should do that.
Oh my gosh, speaking of hot dog, so Samantha begins complaining about her relationship with James, and you know, the girls are trying to make her feel better, like, oh, it can't be that bad. And so she tears off the end of the hot dog and puts it in her face and is like, how would you feel making love to this every night?
I forgot she does that.
She does. And they
Samantha.
as long as it's kosher.
I can't.
And
I can't.
Miranda starts going over the baseball game and describing it to them, and she lets them know that there's a new Yankee on the team, and starts going over his stats of the Yankee. And of course, Carrie's not listening. She's making it about herself, and she starts wondering about her own stats in love. So she mentions here 10 years of playing in New York, 5 real relationships, 1 serious, and
all ending in breakups.
Yeah. All ending in breakups, yes. So big has to be the 1 serious relationship then, right?
Hold on. Carrie's what we figured out, she's like what, 33, 34-ish.
Who's to 34 here.
So how the fuck have you only had 1 serious relationship
in 10 years?
In 10 years.
And I'm sorry, but if Mr. Big was that serious relationship, that's really bad, because you couldn't even meet his mom.
Yeah, he didn't even like you.
No, he did. He said, do not talk to my mother. He didn't actually say that, but he did with his actions.
Yeah. I feel, and it's like, it sucks because, I mean, there is a lot of discussion. There's so much talk on TikTok and girlies being like, I am Carrie. You can't be mad at Carrie. And I'm like, don't be Carrie.
Don't be Carrie. She's the
You can be Carrie at 22, but for the love of God, don't be Carrie at 32. Use your 20s. Your 20s are for your lessons, and your 30s are for, I don't know, I'm not there yet. I'm still in my lessons, but I would assume in your 30s, don't be making the same mistakes. Is at your own expense. That's my thing.
Yeah, love yourself, please.
Love yourself. I think that's what you have to learn in your 20s, definitely, is to love yourself first. Yeah. You know, and then go from there.
Don't go chasing a guy that's not chasing you back.
No.
We don't
do that. That's the worst thing you could ever do to yourself.
Yeah. But yeah, so right after Carrie finishes with this monologue, she catches a fly ball in the game. Like, a ball ends up on their part of the stands, and she catches it.
She doesn't catch it in her hand, but it falls and she picks it up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, it's one thing if she just fucking caught it, because like the odds of that happening is crazy, but like it falls to them and then she like picks it up and she's like, I got it. But then Miranda's all like, oh, you know the odds of catching a fly ball? I'm like, she didn't catch it. It fell there and she picked it up. It's not like she had a fucking mitt. It's not like it fell in her cup. Like,
that'd be cool. but it didn't.
It would have been cool if they did it, but I feel like that would have been too gimmicky.
Yeah, a little bit. So after the game, the ladies go and Carrie uses her press pass as a writer in New York City. She has a press pass, so she uses it, and they go to the little behind the scenes area to go meet the new Yankee, and as all the baseball players are going by, Samantha asks if anyone saw that guy's bulge. So she's looking at she is so tired of James and his little penis.
She feels deprived.
Very much enchanted by the packages of these baseball players.
Oh, you have to remember too, Samantha was pretty much, I mean, she was with pretty much a different guy every night or every other night, whatever she was doing. So she's probably experienced any kind of shape, form, color, texture, and yeah. It's like I have a hard time like relating to Samantha in these ones with James, because I'm just like, girl, what are you doing?
She loves I know.
And that's the sad part, is like she really genuinely likes this guy and everything. So I'm just like, but I mean, the people you would be talking to about this is your girlfriends.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Charlotte's like, he was wearing a cup. Samantha's like, well, his cup runneth over. I love her.
Samantha Jones.
And we have Carrie just like laughing. She's like fucking wasted.
She's fucked up at 3 p.m.
And Miranda sees the Yankee. She stops him in the hallway. He's like, can you sign this ball that my friend caught? And she gets him to sign it, and as he's signing the ball, he's kind of flirting with Carrie a little bit. He asks her, like, oh, are you a baseball fan? She's like, no. And they just flirt a little bit, and he walks away, and Carrie just, like, watches him walk down the hallway, and it's like, I'm going to ask him to the Dolce & Gabbana party. And so she runs down the hallway, she's like, Yankee! And she catches him, and she asks him out, and he says yes. And
a little liquid courage there.
Literally. And they're just shocked. They're like, who rebounds with the new Yankee?
Why the fuck not?
Yeah, exactly. Why the fuck not? And as they're leaving, Samantha stands in front of the men's locker room and just doesn't break up. And these men are so uncomfortable. Oh my gosh, she's literally undressing them with her eyes. And then they pan out, they all leave, and honestly, you can just tell Samantha just misses Dick so bad.
Also, let's think about it too. Let's reverse that. If that was a man staring into a woman's locker room like that, not okay. No. I'm not saying that. Definitely not an okay thing to ogle at the athletes just because they're there.
Yeah.
I don't condone Samantha doing that, but in her sea of desperation, I can see why she did.
Yeah. And then we pan over to the next scene, and Carrie's at home on her laptop, and she's wondering if Charlotte was right. Are we supposed to get over an ex in a slow and painful way? Or are we supposed to ignore all the bad feelings and throw ourselves into the game?
Both.
I think the latter. Oh.
Just kidding. Well, I think a lot of people typically do the let's go out, let's go flirt, let's get some drinks. Yeah, let's get fucked up. Let me not feel my feelings about this. And then you wake up hungover and have anxiety, and not only you thinking about, ew, who was I with or what did I do? You're like, I am also single. So I've done that. Definitely. I've had a decent amount of serious relationships in the past 10 years of my life, at least. And, yeah, it's just what you do.
Just what you do. And, she asks, in a world where leaving each other seems to be getting more and more frequent, what are the breakup rules?
I don't know. I don't think there's rules for breakups.
No?
No, I've never No, because like, what's the advice I always give people? Oh, I say you feel what you got to feel, then move on.
Yeah.
It's always just kind of like, okay, regardless of what the scenario is, I mean, breakups included, it's just kind of like, okay, this happened, whether it was a loss or a disappointment, you have to feel those big, sad, fat, like, you know, fat feelings and then deal with them and continue your life.
Yeah.
That's all you can really do, you know?
Yeah. Well, we have some interviews with people at the game. They
Oh,
talked
I
about
forgot about that.
yeah. They asked some people at the game what they think are the breakup rules. So the first couple dudes we have, they're a couple of stoner looking dudes, and they say don't cry because if you do get back together again, then like you're the dude who cried.
Oh my god. But this is back when it's like the whole, I guess it was
It's like gay to
not
have
okay.
feelings as a man.
Yeah, because there's nothing, obviously we're at this point. Men need to cry. If you don't cry, I think you're fucking crazy.
Yeah,
Like
cry
you
in
have
public,
some serious repression issues if you're not crying.
please cry for the love of God.
Maybe not so much in front of me, but like just do it somewhere. I mean, dude, it's like you don't have to like sob in front of me, but if like you're gonna cry, just cry. Can well up, it's okay. I don't particularly like crying in front of people either. So I
No,
cried today. I cried
yeah,
today.
right before this.
I cried today. And I don't cry. I cry for this fucking weirdest stuff, man. I'm not a normal person. I don't cry when bad things happen to me. I don't cry when I like lose people. I mean, yeah, I do eventually, but like I cry at animals. The only thing I fucking like legitimately sob over is animals and like
Oh,
fake animals included. Huh?
yeah, really? I'm
Fake
thinking
animals included.
Molly.
Stop it. Don't you dare say her name. All right. Okay, hold up. Let's give one weakness of Bella because I feel like, sometimes people are like, "Oh, Bella's so strong." I'm like, "No, the fuck I'm not." Because if you post a little picture of this fucking mouse, I will lose it, okay? I don't know if you've ever seen this show.
Is it Solar Opposites, right?
I can't even say it. It's Solar Opposites. I forgot what season it is. But I can't there's this lovely mouse named Molly. And she's wearing a pink bow.
And she drowns.
She drowns.
I'm sorry to do this to you.
And I don't know, man. And it's specifically tied to rodents. Specifically, I can't. I don't know. As I have an affinity for. I have an affinity for rodents. Obviously, look at my ex-boyfriends. But like, my God, like I can't do it when fucking rodents die. It makes me so sad. Or like, oh God. But Molly dies, and that's one of the like, just I don't know, man.
No, I feel.
It's one of the very few things I cry at is animals and like animals getting hurt. You know, they always say that though. Like you watch a movie and it hurts when the dog dies. You're like, that's what makes everyone cry. Men, women, kids included. Like people die all the time in movies. You're like, oh, whatever, they died. But like the animals dying.
You like specifically love horror movies where people are tortured too, and that gets you.
Oh, I love gore. I
gets you.
love that. Love gore. I love seeing people get fucking shredded. Like Terrifier 3 is coming out in October 11th. Anyway. But yeah, I can't, and like also more so animated animals get me. Animated animals. I just can't, man. It all started when my grandma showed me All Dogs Go to Heaven. I was like 4. I remember sitting on our living room couch bawling, probably the hardest I ever cried after I became a sentient human being. That's like one of my first memories was watching All Dogs Go to Heaven, and I bawled on the fucking couch for like 30 minutes. Like,
poor baby, wasn't ready.
no, I can't do it. Like, stop hurting animals, or animals can't die. This one, there better be some magic potion for that bitch to live until she's like 60. I'm talking to you over there.
What a life.
Right?
Man. I feel you though. My version of Molly is the Rugrats movie when they go to Paris.
when Chucky, when they do the dance?
No, when Chucky tries. When Chucky tries to press the button to get a mom. I can't. Oh god. How do we get to this? Let's get back to the fucking show. Okay, we gotta stop. Okay, I'm done. I'm fucking done.
There's two broads crying about animated characters. That's what's happening this season.
Think of some shit. Oh my god. Okay, let's just go back to the show. Okay, so we have the stoner dudes, and they're saying, "Don't fucking cry," because then you're the one who fucking cries. And then we have the next lady. She's a fucking waspy lady. She's like, "Don't call or see him for 3 months until 3 months have passed, because that's how long it takes you to lose all the weight that you gained when you were breaking up."
Honestly, that's so true. Some people, like the people who are like, "Oh my god, I just can't eat a thing," when they're like stressed or grieving. I'm like, can't relate. I fucking eat everything in sight if I'm emotionally fucking stressed.
I'm usually like that, but if I become the bitch that can't eat anything, that's when you have to
That's a problem.
That's when I'm fucked.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. And then we have the baseball player that had his cup runneth over.
Was it him?
Yeah. And he says, "Give her whatever she wants, but don't sign a motherfucking thing."
Yeah, I mean, as a Yankee, you're probably making a decent amount. Like,
and
you're not a minor league.
Like, don't sign anything. And then we have the peanut lady, the one handing out the peanut.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Change your name, change your phone number, and change your job. They're all bums." Amen.
Amen, sister. Amen. I've never had to do an identity change for a man, but I've gotten near close.
Oh my gosh. And then we pan over to the next scene, and we have Carrie getting ready for the Dolce & Gabbana party. This is the party that she asked the Yankee out to.
Do we ever get his name?
Not yet. So that's the part of the episode. Yeah. So we have Carrie's running around trying to get ready, and she opens up a drawer and she accidentally finds a photo of herself and Mr. Big. And it's super sad because they're cuddling together, and she puts this line in where she talks about how she took this photo with a disposable camera before she ever realized how disposable they were. And while that's a bit cheesy, it is kind of, I'm sure we've all been there where you look back at the photos where you were happy with that person and you realize, like, wow, if I didn't see this coming, I wish, if only I knew that.
Yeah, I've definitely gotten like choked up when I see like the happy times. And my dad was always a really good, my dad's actually extraordinarily good at like breakup advice. Like I always, that's one thing that's really cool. But he's actually given like really insightful like advice with breakups, and it always kind of, I think, like helped me. I mean, I'm fucking still delusional, but like I have to have some kind of reality. But he's always like, he said, anything you're doing, he goes, when you're ruminating and reminiscing, he's like, that's just your brain trying to like make it better. And he was like, and he always said, you always miss the routine before you actually miss the person. You know, and he's like, you're missing that comfortability you had with someone rather than what actually was happening. And him saying stuff like that, like, has really helped, like, with the whole getting over someone thing, because you do realize that you're like, oh, you miss, you know, because like for me especially, I have a hard time actually like being comfortable with people. I think I've been like actually comfortable with like probably one person in my life. Like, I mean, close to two, honestly, but like where I've like bared my like soul, I've been vulnerable, I was able to like do anything and everything, like, with a person. And when you get that way with someone, it's hard. You're like, I've been my complete and utter 110% myself. Like, how am I supposed to do this again? How am I supposed to be this vulnerable again without getting hurt? You know, so yeah, it's all about the levels of how you are with people too. Because like the least, you know, if you're not super vulnerable in a relationship, I do think like it's probably easier to get over someone. You know, if it wasn't that serious, if you didn't take it that seriously, it's probably a lot easier to just be like, oh, well, too bad, sad, didn't work out. So
oh yeah, definitely. And it's just, it hurts nonetheless, you know. Yeah. And at this point, Carrie makes her first breakup rule: destroy all pictures where he looks sexy and you look happy.
no.
Put him in a box.
Yeah, I keep pictures, but I keep pictures more so not to like be like I need them, but it's just, it's your life. It's your life, it's your memories, you know, and sometimes I don't always remember everything, so I do kind of like keeping certain things. I've had to do a couple of like fucking deletes of all of my great photos of things, and even if they weren't inappropriate, like, it was due to another man's insecurity, you know. And I'm just like, that's horseshit. Like, looking back, I'm like, damn, I deleted just some like good pictures, like nothing inappropriate, just like trips, memories, parties, you know, all at the expense of another man's insecurity. Yeah, and it's dumb. It's like, you can have photos without having feelings.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But not everybody can, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So boo on that person. So we next scene at the Dolce and Gabbana party. We have Carrie and Charlotte with their dudes. So Carrie's there with her Yankee, and Charlotte's there with this guy Paul. Paul is the vice president of a major recording label's classical / jazz section. So that's pretty fun. Yeah, very on on theme.
Brand.
On brand. That's what I was looking
for. On brand for Charlotte.
Charlotte. Somebody who's like eclectic, has a good artistic, like intelligent artistic perspective.
Yeah, she needs a pretty like straight-laced guy, but with a sense of creativity.
Yeah, definitely. And while Paul, who is Charlotte's guy, he's talking to the Yankee, he adjusts himself. So
oh yeah, I forgot that's what happened.
Yeah, so he tugs his balls,
like all men do,
moving him over, and within the span of like 1 minute, he does it twice.
But he does it a lot. Like, he does it more so than
well, and just very,
and it's not like secret. Like, I always hear guys talk about like, they're like, oh, you have to like walk funny and like shake it off, you know, like they try to not make it obvious, you know, that they have to adjust themselves. So
this guy is not shy about it at all. In fact, I would say he's casual about it. It's like he's like, you know, moving his hair over his shoulder.
Honestly, though, I mean, like, who gives a shit if you're not playing with yourself? Make yourself comfortable. Or actually, if you're making all this money, get yourself a good pair of boxer briefs.
Yeah, right.
But you know what? Some guys don't. Some guys are very like stick to what they're comfortable with. I don't know. Like, to me, I don't know. If I felt like I had like male genitalia, I feel like boxers would be so uncomfortable. I feel like that's just wearing shorts under pants.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, what's the point of a boxer?
That's true. If everything's touching, right? It's like...
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't know, so.
I wouldn't know either. And everybody who's listening, okay, boxers or briefs?
Yeah, tell us in the comments. Are you a boxer or brief or a boxer brief kind of person?
Or none of the above. And
or do you go commando? Yeah, I'm curious. Women too. I'm actually curious.
Or do you wear thongs?
Yeah. Well, like, whoever, I don't care. Whatever you identify as, what's your favorite choice of underwear?
Exactly. We would love to know.
Because some women like the boxer, like the boy short thing. Like some women really enjoy thongs all the time. Some women just are like, no, regular, like brief, whatever makes you comfortable. I'm personally comfortable in thongs. Like, that's just what I've always been like that my whole life. I don't. Too. Yeah, and not like, now I'm not talking like G-strings all the time. Like, it's not the fucking 2000s. But like they make like those nice like seamless thongs that they're nice and
I feel
this works. So what you're comfortable in,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, I am curious. I want to know your underwear preferences. Everyone, chime in.
Oh my gosh. And poor Charlotte. So this guy keeps on adjusting himself. So to like fix the situation, she just grabs his hand and holds it. Like, you can stop.
She's like redirecting him like a kid.
Yeah, no, she just grabs it and holds it like, oh, like, they're on a date. And, all this is happening. Carrie keeps on looking around in the party. And obviously she's looking for Mr. Big, but he never shows up. And Charlotte asks if Carrie thinks that Mr. Big will be there that night. And Carrie says breakup number 2, lie. And she tells Charlotte that she didn't think about whether or not he'd be there that night. And she just says it's easier to lie than to admit that she was hoping to see Mr. Big that night, which is why she maxed out her credit card to buy the dress that she was wearing.
Damn.
I know. I can only imagine how expensive that thing must have been. But Mr. Big never shows up and everybody takes off. So while walking home, Carrie and the new Yankee, she mentions that Mr. Big never made an appearance, so she decided to make the best of it and actually get to know something about this guy. This is where we find out his name for the first time. That's the one thing we learned about him, which is that his name was Joe. That's the thing that she learned about him.
Are you sure Miranda didn't say his name before?
Yeah. Yeah, no,
interesting.
They specifically mentioned that because Mr. Big didn't show up, she decided to get to know him better and finds out that no. Like, this is
lovely.
Yeah. And they're making casual conversation. Honestly, not gonna lie, this guy's kind of boring. She's like, how'd you like the party? He's like, it was good. Like, I think you're kind of pretty. And just, there's really no...
But this is like a first date.
Still, you can be interesting on a first date.
Yeah, but there just definitely wasn't any fireworks.
No, and that's what I mean. It's not so much it's like when you're texting somebody for the first time on Tinder and, hey, how are you? I'm doing good. How are you?
Oh, that's the worst.
And they end up kissing right here, and she just says she let the new Yankee go to first base with her. And just like a little note on this, where Sex in the City, at least at this point in the show, takes place in the 90s in New York City. And in some of the scenes, you'll see really pretty views of the Twin Towers when they were still up and alive. And so they have a really beautiful scene of them in the street, and behind them are the Twin Towers lit up at night. And it's really romantic.
Yeah, we do forget that, I think we've mentioned it before, but the fifth character of the show is New York itself and how beautiful it is, and you know how it's just one of its own. But yeah, definitely, you know, lovely homage to how beautiful the city is, and it still is, you know, even after something so tragic, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely excited to go once we do go. We've been trying to plan our New York excursion for a while here. We plan on going for what, my 30th birthday, right?
Yeah, I think that we should both be in our 30s when we go.
I agree. And then if we time, actually, when we were starting the podcast, I think we timed it to where I think finishing the series, and I even think the movies also, would put us at about 2 years. So we would be finishing around the time I turned 30. So that which it kind of would be perfect, right? Because we just timed it perfectly when we started. But I think that would be really cool because her and I have been planning this even before the podcast. We were like, oh, we have to do like a big New York thing, you know, and not like stay for like a weekend. Like we want to stay for like 2-3 weeks, or like a month, you know, and like really just kind of like take a big long vacation, you know, go throughout the city, explore the city, and be not single girls, but you know, like, you know, 2 30-year-old bitches in New York getting to live our Sex in the City dreams.
Each other's soulmates in New York.
Oh, we'll be each other's soulmates in New York. Oh, that's gonna be so good. It's gonna be so good. So
very excited for it. And one thing that we'll be doing for sure is having brunch, just like the girls.
Oh, absolutely.
And so we have the 4 broads at brunch, and it's the day after, or I guess a couple days after, and they find out that Carrie's on page 6. So they took a photo of Carrie at the party with the new Yankee, and she's on page 6 of the newspaper. And Samantha's like, Mr. Big is gonna die when he sees this, and Carrie's like, I don't want him to die. And Samantha's like, cut the shit, it's me, you're using him. And Samantha tries to change the subject and tries to show off her Palm Pilot, which Palm Pilot was brand new. Wow. That was state-of-the-art technology.
I miss like Blackberries and stuff. My aunt used to call them crackberries. God, like right when cells were starting to kind of emerge into their newer technology.
Yeah.
You know, we're not even close. We're not even close to an iPhone yet at this point, which is wild. Because the iPhone was what, 04, 05, like the very first generation.
I thought it was like 08. Am I crazy?
It was a little bit earlier. Let me see.
I might be thinking of when I got my first iPhone.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, she tries to change the subject and no one listens. They just want to talk about Mr. Big and the Yankee and all these dudes. And Miranda asks why they're still talking about Mr. Big, because he hurt her.
You are right. It was 07.
Nice.
07.
07 for the first iPhone.
Yes, first generation.
First gen. And yeah, Miranda's like, why are we still talking about this guy? It's over. They're broken up. Move on. He's out of the... And she's like, come on, new subject. I don't want to talk about this anymore. And they all sit in silence until Charlotte says, I have a problem with my boyfriend. And Miranda's just pissed. She just goes and pays her check and comes, you know, she walks away for a little bit. So we're at the table with just Carrie, Charlotte, and Samantha. And Charlotte starts talking about Paul's balls. Oh, I never realized that. Paul's balls.
Yeah. Oh, those writers.
Yeah, that was funny. And they try to figure out what the problem is. Like, why does this guy keep doing it? Because it's one thing to do it. You know, that's really not any cause for concern. I understand you have anatomy down there that has to get adjusted. You want to be comfortable, you know? But to do it multiple times in a single conversation repeatedly, that's a little habitual. It's a little much.
I feel like sometimes that kind of behavior can become innate.
innate.
You know? Yeah, like you don't even think about it.
Yeah. So that's one perspective of it. The ladies trying to figure it out. They're like, what if he's trying to get attention down there? I don't think that was it, because he doesn't even stop what he's saying. He just like does it, and
He
then
just does it.
Yeah. And then Samantha's like, maybe he has some low hangers. You know, maybe they just hang low. And Charlotte's just frustrated, and I don't understand why he has to do this. What if we just touched ourselves in public all the time? And the ladies are like, they'd love it.
Yeah, she's like, men would love it. Are you kidding?
They would love it if women would just touch themselves in public all the time. And Miranda gets back, and she's like, okay, so what are we talking about now? And Carrie's just like, Charlotte's boyfriend's balls.
Which is honestly such a like girlhood thing, because like that's what if you came back from the bathroom, it's like, what are we talking about? It's like, yeah, Charlotte's boyfriend's balls. That's what we're fucking talking about right now. Sorry guys, but we talk, and it's so funny because guys, you know, I've had discussion with men before, you know, they're always like, oh, women, you know, like women are always like locker room talk, blah blah blah, you guys are so much worse. We are.
You're right.
We're not, you know, I was about to say, you know, we may not be as vulgar. We are.
Oh, we are. Absolutely. Yep.
You talk about everything.
Facts.
Everything and anything.
All of it.
That's girlhood.
Yep. And we do it with a cute little cocktail in our hands.
Absolutely. Like we're doing, or like at least like I'm doing right now.
I am drinking water because I'm sick with COVID, but I will be better soon.
You were getting there. You sound great compared to how you did like 2 days ago.
Girl, I sound better than I did last night.
COVID ran a little rampant. I mean, not just San Antonio, but there definitely was a little pop in the past couple of weeks here. So if you have COVID or you're covering from COVID right now, cheers to you. I hope you get over. Hope you recover well, because it can get pretty gnarly.
Was it tomorrow's like
a week?
Tomorrow's a week. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm tired of this shit. I'm just happy that I don't sound all like nasally like I did yesterday. But oh my gosh, when Miranda hears that they're talking about Charlotte's boyfriend's balls, she fucking loses it. She's so mad. She says, how come 4 such smart women can only sit around talking about men? And I see what she's saying. You know, sometimes
I didn't realize that quote was so early in the series.
Yeah.
Is this where she gets pissed off, right? She gets mad, and she like, does she leave?
Yeah, she leaves. She takes off.
This is where she says that one iconic line, right? Is this where she talks about 7th grade with bank accounts?
Yeah, it's like 7th grade, but with bank accounts.
Yeah, she gets mad that everyone's just talking about dudes and they're not talking about anything else. And so, but I think we learn in this episode that there's like a little bit of projection there.
A little bit. You know, it's a fair thing to say if there's literally nothing else you can talk about at all, and you're hyper focusing on these men who, in Carrie's case, like her and Mr. Big are done, and she's hyper focusing on him, and everything that she's doing is revolving around this guy, which is understandable at this point in the relationship, to be fair, but it is kind of problematic when you can't move past it, and there's so many things that you could be doing but you're not, because all of your energy is going into this man who wants nothing to do with you.
Yeah. I mean, I can see if we were like 6 months down the line.
Yeah.
Like 2 months in, it's still viable brunch. It's still a viable brunch topic.
That's true. Miranda's just done though. And so we have the next scene, and this is the scene with Samantha and James in bed. So Samantha tries to coach James to see if she can make sex work with his penis, because, you know, as it's common knowledge, it's not what you have, it's how you use it.
Yeah.
You know, you you can do some good work with what you got.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like you don't have to be super endowed. Honestly, sometimes it's better that you're not, depending on how tight the lady is, whatever. But
not even that. It's just sex can be viable in a lot of capacities, regardless of what genitalia you got going on, you know?
And so she tries different angles. She tries talking dirty. She's like, "You hot stud," and she tries getting it from behind even, and nothing's working for her. And in all these different scenes, you see James smiling and thrusting and happy, and you see Samantha frustrated, upset, and sad. All of them. And then picture this, right? So James is on top of Samantha. She's laying on her stomach. He's on top of her. He's thrusting into her. He's smiling, and she's upset. And then she turns on her vibrator underneath on herself, and he starts smiling, but now he's upset. And he says he thinks it would be more fun without the vibrator. And
I mean,
like, is that okay? And she just turns it off. She doesn't say anything. And then he goes back to smiling, and she goes back to being upset. And I'm sorry, at this point, as far as I'm concerned, he deserves to lose her. Don't work against the fucking vibrator. Work with it. And this is small dick energy coming from a small dick man. I don't like this.
Yeah, because you want your partner, you want everyone to have an enjoyable experience, regardless of what you got, you know?
Yeah, and if you're gonna deny a woman her
because if he's over here, he's been having a blast the whole time, and she's like, hey, this is what's making me feel, you know, good right now. Why are you gonna deny your partner a feeling good also? But then it's, you know, it digs into the whole, oh, I don't feel good enough and blah blah blah. But it's like, let's just everyone can come.
Seriously, and it's like
everyone can come, and everyone needs to come, regardless of which way, who's how you're doing it, where you're getting it.
I don't understand the emasculating factor that vibrators seem to have on some men. It's just ridiculous. If you're so like, she can't get off without me, you use it on her.
I do think that this is a very 90s approach. I do think the climate of making women have pleasure has changed. You know how we compare back then to now a lot. I do feel like the consideration of women's like orgasms have been put more on the forefront than how they were back then. As they should. So, because you do hear that you hear that a lot. It's not just like a, what's it called, like a pump and dump, like fucking. It's like, nah. It's like, there normally sex is a lot more fun, you know, with everyone involved. So
yeah, dude. Oh my god.
Yeah, why the fuck not? Right? The more fun everyone's having, the more fun everyone is having, the more enjoyable it's going to be for literally everyone involved.
Like, the wetter she is, the better, right?
Like, the wetter, the better.
The better.
So I was about to say, so we're making shirts for the podcast. If you're interested, I don't know if about like selling them and stuff, but I do want us to start getting some like merch, in the sense of like, I want us to at least have shirts, or like if our friends want it, you know, we just want to give them out kind of thing. We're trying to get stickers and stuff. But if you're willing to purchase them, that'd be kind of cool. But you know, yeah, we can have dumb little things like that. The wetter. I don't know if you're gonna be comfortable wearing that, but no, we do want some, at least with our logo and stuff like that. I think that'd be really cute. So
cute. We could have like a Cosmos spilling over. The wetter, the better.
I do like that. Actually, really, that would be a good sticker.
It would.
That'd be a really good sticker to put in bars and stuff.
Yeah.
Love that.
Man. Oh my gosh. And then we have the next scene, and Charlotte gives her man Paul a present.
I forgot about this.
And so Charlotte is so delicate about this whole ball tugging thing, and she won't say anything about it. She just won't. And so to get around that communication, she decides to go and buy him a pair of underwear that is going to help support his balls for him. So that
like what we were talking about. We're like, get a pair of boxer briefs.
Exactly. So he doesn't have to keep moving them around and stuff. And he opens the present, he sees the underwear, and he's upset. He's fucking pissed, actually. And he says, "We haven't even made love yet, and you're already shopping for me. Slow down." And she tries to defend herself, to say anything to anything, and she can't get the words out. She really can't. And he tries to tell her that, or he actually doesn't, he just tells her they're moving too fast, and first comes the underwear, then you move in, next thing I know you hate my music, and he just spirals and dips. He leaves. And
what a bizarre take on that.
Yeah, sounds like
I mean, yeah, it is a little strange. Like, you're like, here's some underwear. But, I mean, Charlotte being like a New York classy bitch, it's not,
awesome.
I don't think it's abnormal to be like, oh, this is like the new fine line of men's underwear. Like, it's just a little gift,
Yeah, but he didn't like it. And I'm assuming it's like his kind of trauma, though. Like maybe he had an ex-girlfriend who was very controlling.
Maybe.
But he leaves, and Charlotte says that she followed her breakup rule. So they dated for 3 weeks. She was over him in a week and a half. For science.
Amazing.
And then next scene, we have Miranda walking around New York City, and she runs into somebody. So Miranda's walking out around New York City just to clear her head. And honestly, whoever styled her for this scene fucking hated her guts. I'm just gonna say it. She has on a puffer jacket with an oversized set of overalls and a baseball cap.
Oh, it's such a goofy outfit of like the whole season. Dude, there's so many TikToks where they talk about like Miranda losing aura points or like just her bad outfits of the series. And like, this is one of the biggest ones.
Yeah, like she must have pissed off her stylist that day or something. But it's kind of funny because that breakup or that rule that Carrie mentions at the very beginning, or that thing that she mentions where it's more likely you're going to run into your ex when you look like shit. This is very true in Miranda's case. Because who does she run into? The former love of her life, walking hand in hand with the woman he left her for.
Damn.
Ouch.
Yeah. Ouch. Big ouch. That's never happened to me. It's not like to the person that they like left me for, but I have run into someone where they were dating the new person, and I was like, oh, I was like, this is interesting, and then they ran off like a bitch.
Like a little bitch.
That was a wild. That was like probably the only. I've only ever actually ran into an ex twice. One was at an HEB, and one was at a Deftones concert.
Oh,
so,
God.
yeah.
Huh.
You would think in that big ass stadium, in that big ass arena.
Yeah.
Whatever. No, it's not meant to be.
No. But dude, Miranda looks like she saw a ghost and takes off there. She literally was so distraught. She did the ugly run. And then we go to the next scene, and we have Carrie and Joe the Yankee at a bar, and they're hanging out and they're flirting. Honestly, it's going pretty well. Like that, for the first time in this episode, they actually, besides when they first met, they actually kind of seem to have some chemistry here. They're playing the game where you like throw something up in the air and try to catch it with your mouth, and Carrie does it, and then she turns around to catch the food, and there's Mr. Big. And she
Moment
said,
of silence.
yeah, her other breakup rule, which is don't stop thinking about the person for a moment because that is the moment going to appear.
That's usually how that goes.
Yeah. And so he comes in and approaches Carrie and the Yankee. And the conversation's really awkward. They kind of both are just like, "Oh, hey, yeah, yeah. Hi, how are you doing?"
Carrie also doesn't look that fantastic here either.
Really?
She's I feel like she's looking patchouli.
You think so? Because
Yeah.
in that moment, she says she did it. She established the perfect run-in where she's with the Yankee and she looks great.
I
She
think
thinks
she
she
could have
looks
looked.
great.
I mean, she probably was feeling hot, but I'm like, she could have looked a lot better in that run-in.
Yeah. And so she introduces Mr. Big and the Yankee, and Mr. Big is very polite. He's like, "Oh, I know who this is. You know, good luck this
Yeah.
season." And then he leans into Carrie and he's like, "I saw you in the paper. You never looked better." And as he puts his hand on on her shoulder as he says that, and her heart, you could, it's
Yeah,
on
it
here
like slows, it
slow.
slow-mos in the show.
Yeah, it's
Yeah. And like
slows down.
you feel that. You feel those moments that you're kind of like things like that happen and you're just like, what is happening?
Yeah,
You
very,
know?
very encapsulating. And oh my gosh, he leaves right after that and just takes off. And she's not the same.
Devastated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the entire mood just flipped on its head.
Yeah.
And Carrie and the new Yankee and Joe, the Yankee, they leave the bar and they're walking around. He tries to invite her to an after party, and she's like, "Yeah, I guess, okay." And they're talking and walking together, and then the Joe, he pulls her in for a kiss, and she sobs into his mouth. Like she cries
Never a good look.
into his mouth as they're,
Yeah.
and she apologizes and she tells him, "I'm so embarrassed," and then finally she says, "I'm not ready. I'm sorry, I'm not ready.
Yeah.
I'm not ready." And he
Yeah.
tries to calm her down and tries to help her kind of rationalize, because honestly she's being kind of hysterical at this point. It's just like out of nowhere, as far as this guy's concerned at least. And she just says, "I need to be left alone. Can you leave? Like, stop talking to me." And he tries a couple more times, and she's like, "Then I'm gonna leave." And so she takes off. And this poor dude is just left,
Just left there in the dust.
like, he literally just, like, looks like a trout, just like mouth open,
Yeah.
like, dumbfounded. And Carrie goes to a payphone and she calls somebody on the phone. We don't know who it is. And all she says is, "It's me. I know things are really weird between us right now, but I really need to talk to you. Will you meet me at our place in 15 minutes? You know? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
she's not okay. She just called somebody.
Yeah.
So she gets to the diner and she walks in, she's looking around, and guess who she sees at the table? Miranda.
It's
Not,
Miranda. It's not Mr. Big.
it's not big. She doesn't need to talk to him that night. She needs to talk to her friend.
Yeah.
And she goes and she just tells Miranda like what happened and how she fell apart and how she just she knows that Miranda's not really here for this right now, but she just needed a friend.
Because I
And
think the last time they probably talked was Miranda storming out of the
was with
diner
Miranda
from earlier.
at a diner. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Miranda just tells her, "I saw Eric, the former love of her life, and I hid." She tells Carrie, "I forgot how hard it is." And I feel like that is huge,
Oh
because
yeah.
it's one thing to be going through a breakup And it's one thing when your friend is going through the breakup and you're not currently going through it. It can kind of seem like they're overreacting a little bit, but when you think about when you were in their exact scenario, their shoes, you remember how painful it is. And she kind of got a dose of like a reality check, you know? She's like, this,
Yeah.
it is painful. You can think that you're so above it or whatever, but it's painful and it hurts, and that's valid.
Absolutely. Like I do that a lot too. Like going through like traumatic stuff and going through things that are like not a healthy or normal way of breaking up too. It hits you at such a visceral level also,
Yeah.
where when people talk about things and they're like, am I being crazy for being like this? And I'm like, no. I'm
So,
like, your brain is trying to save yourself. It's trying to rationalize your feelings from before. It's trying to, what I always talk to people a lot about, like going through like abusive things or traumatic things. You harbor a lot of guilt towards yourself, and you get mad at yourself too. And you're like, I'm like, not only are you gonna have to like come to terms with like what happened to you, you have to forgive yourself for letting yourself go through it. And
yeah.
that's another demon and devil you have to deal with also. And and like the regret and all that stuff too. So like when people are going through things that were really ugly, especially, I'm just like, girl, if you want to fucking take your top off at a bar, like,
Me too.
I'm no person to judge. So
Yeah. No, for real. And it just, it, you need your friends for the
yeah,
validation
absolutely.
or,
Absolutely.
and, you know, Carrie ends this episode by saying what her most important breakup rule is. And the most important breakup rule is that no matter who broke your heart or how long it takes you to heal, you'll never get through it without your friends.
So true.
That is so true. And that's how this
So
episode
true.
ends. The big
Yeah.
rule is stick to your friends, you know?
Yeah, definitely have whatever support system you do have, whether it's one person or 10. You need to have the people there that remind you of who you are, what you've how you've who
Or,
you've yeah, who you've been up until this, before the person, during the person, after the person. You need to remember who you are, pull yourself up, pull yourself from your fucking bootstraps and keep it going. And,
exactly.
you got to love yourself first and you will get through it. Even if it's one of those breakups that you're not going to, you're not going to forget for the rest of your life kind of thing. Cause those ones happen, you can,
Yeah.
you're still going to get through it, you know,
Yep.
for sure.
Yeah. And having a friend there, a good friend to
A
be there
good
for you,
friend.
help you navigate it, to listen to you cry about it, and to validate your experience is really helpful. And really,
Absolutely.
you know, somebody to bounce everything off of and just
Yeah,
hold you
because you
back.
can you can enable delusions for so long, but then eventually you're like, all right, let's get this shit together.
Oh, bitch, time to clean yourself up. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so those are the breakup rules. That was Take Me Out to the Ball Game,
Take
season 2, episode
me
1.
out to the
We are officially
ball
in season
game.
2.
Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jacks. I don't care if they'll ever come back, right?
I thought it
I don't
was
know.
back.
If I ever come back, okay. So let's root for the home team. If they
Yeah!
don't win, if they don't win, it's a shame. What, right?
The song.
If for it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. I used to know it.
Yay!
Yay! Play ball. I don't know. I like watching baseball. It's fun.
I've never been to baseball. I love the baseball.
You've never been to a baseball game?
No.
Oh, we're gonna have to go. I don't live far. I live in the vicinity of where baseball is held here in San Antonio, so I do hear their fireworks every fucking weekend.
No.
I have my whole life, like, if living at home and shit. But it's pretty cool. But no, baseball games are super fun. Super, super fun. We'll have to try and catch one before the season's over.
I would love that. That'd be so much fun. See if I catch a fly ball. See if you meet a new baseball player.
Dude, when I was in high school, I was either in middle school or high school. There was a fucking missions player I was in love with. Like, I was in love with. Like, I just remember seeing him, like, I remember seeing his, like, walk up, and I was like, oh, I forgot what he was. I think he was a pitcher, but I was like, God damn. I'm like, hello. Oh, I remember because his walk-up song was, God, what's that fucking Katy Perry song? Hold on.
I kissed a girl in a...
No. Hold on. Was it? Hold on. I have to look it up. No. Hold on.
What's that other one that she did with the aliens?
Yes. Yes, it's that one. E.T. E.T. by Katy Perry. That was his walk-up song, and I was like 14, like fucking drooling, I wonder what happened to him. I'm gonna have to look him up. Because at the time, I think he was 30. So he's what? 43? Ooh, perfect.
Age appropriate now.
He's age appropriate now. We're in that vicinity where we can date you and your dad.
Watch out.
Lock your dad up. Because if we break up, that's who I'm going for.
Oh my god.
If he's single, not if he's married to your mom or with someone else. But yeah, we're in that age group now. It is funny. People talk about it. People do talk about or women like our age now, like in your like mid to late 20s. You're like, whoa, I could date someone in their 40s. It's not weird,
No, such a strange turning point of life for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that was season 2. Episode 1. We are here. We are in season 2. I'm excited to get through it. It's crazy. Like when we started this, we're like, oh, we're gonna get through season 1, and here we are, season 2, doing the same old thing. So we got 18 episodes this season. So that's
Next episode is called The Awful Truth.
The Awful Truth. So stick around. This is we do mention it last time. This episode, this season is kind of crazy how it starts and it ends also. So this one does kind of jam pack a lot of things in every episode. So yeah, stick along. Just a preface, the titles of the episodes start to get a little bit raunchier as we go on too. So I'm like, I don't know if I can put that as a YouTube title. So we might have to edit some.
Which one?
There's quite a bit that there's quite a bit that are a little
fun.
They're fun. I can like put stars and stuff, but it gets a little more explicit in at least the titles and just the rest of the show too. Obviously, this is Sex in the City. We talk about sex. We talk about things in sex. So obviously, but yeah. So thank you guys so much for sticking it out. If you're starting here in season 2, awesome. Again, if you're rewatching the show, if you're starting it for the first time, if you're just watching the pod, welcome. We're excited to keep this going, and we want to see it grow more, and so that's what we're gonna do. So thank you guys again. Yeah, we're just super excited to keep this one going. So thank you guys so much for sticking it out with these two broads just living on a dream. But yeah, so excited to see you guys next week. We're excited for our guests to come on the show. I'm hoping to be booking a couple more. So, but yeah, so really excited. Great things to come. Thank you guys so much for sticking it out. But yeah, so we should see you guys next week. So thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
We love you guys. Thank you so much.
See you next week.
See you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.